guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just finished watching the first episode of Hawkeye. I initially wanted to watch this series before Echo came out at the end of last year, but it was the holiday season and so many things was happening and I didn't get around to it. Now I started watching Echo, and this first episode, a lot of you guys kind of agreed with me, but you also agreed with my thought process. Like I should have watched Echo a while ago. I should have watched Hawkeye a while ago. Because a lot of you guys are telling me that there's certain things that are happening where in Hawkeye it would give me a better understanding of what's happening in Echo. So I'm like, you know what, let me start watching Hawkeye. Even though I did watch the first episode of Echo. Excuse me. And I plan on watching the rest of it, but I did want to get into Hawkeye. So I really enjoyed this episode. I really, really did. And I'm going to watch the second one tonight as well. So we see Kate as a little girl. And she seems a little witty for her age. And she's being nosy because she hears her parents arguing. And in the midst of all of that, you know, she has a few conversations with both of her parents. And she goes to get a chessboard and to go play a game with her mom. And then all of a sudden, there's an alien attack. The alien attack. And her house is being all torn apart and everything. And in the midst of all that, she's looking for her parents, and she looks outside of one of the broken windows or the broken walls, and she sees Hawkeye, and she's like mesmerized. Like she's looking at him like, wow, like I want one of those, or I want to be like that. And then her mom finally finds her. She's calling out for her parents, and I thought that they were both dead, but they're not. Well, her dad is, her mom's not. So at the funeral, at her dad's funeral, she tells her mom, I need to protect this. This is a little girl. She can't be no more than like, what, 8 years old or something like that. So her mom's like, no, that's my job. She was like, I need a bow and arrow type of thing. And I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. So then it cuts over to her being older, and now she's, I guess, proving something to her friends because she's on this archery team. And I guess they're trying to figure out what makes the noise. Is it the bell, or is it the little dingy thing that's hanging? And this girl goes and tries to prove a point, but not only destroys the bell, but then the bell falls and destroys the whole clock tower. So now she gets caught doing that. And then we see Hawkeye. Now Hawkeye is out with his kids, and they're at one of the theaters. It's Christmas time in New York City, and they're at this musical. And at first I didn't understand what was happening, but then I was just like, wait, is this like an Avengers musical? So it's like, I found it kind of funny. And at one point he sees one of the performers who's playing as Black Widow, and he kind of freezes up, and I was like, oh, my heart kind of dropped a bit. I was like, oh, Black Widow. So he kind of like, you know, kind of dazes away at one point. And he's trying to just, you know, have a good time with his kids, but he can't help himself. So then we end up seeing Kate again as she's older. She just got to New York, or she got in town. I don't know where she lives in New York, but I guess she lives in a different part of town. So, you know, she meets up with her mom back at the same house. It's repaired. Her mom looks gorgeous, and she's basically telling her, like, can you come here first? I have to talk to you. And then so she gets to the house, and she ends up seeing her mom. Her mom looks good. She's going to this gala, and she's got an outfit for her daughter to wear, for Kate to wear. And then this guy Jack pops up. Now I feel like I've seen Jack before, and I don't remember where. But anyway, she doesn't seem too fond of him, because she's like, oh, basically, like, what are you doing here? And he's like, all tries to give her a rose. He's like, that was in your mouth. Like, no. Like, she doesn't seem very fond of him. But then she sees how kind of close they are, and Kate's kind of giving her mom the side eye, like, what the heck is going on here? So they leave off to the gala, And then we see her, she shows up at the gala, but she doesn't show up with the dress that her mom told her to wear. She's dressed like a waiter. So anyway, so so then Hawkeye and his kids are all having dinner at what looks like this restaurant, this Asian restaurant or whatever. And then they're all having a good time. They call mom. They're supposed to be flying out to see their mother the next day, which I feel like something's going to happen where they're not going to get home the next day. But that's just my thoughts. So anyway, so I guess the waiter comes and gives Hawkeye something free, and he's like, no, that's not necessary. And the waiter's like, yeah, it's necessary, you saved our city. And he seems very uneasy, like, no, I really kind of don't want to accept that. He's not okay with how everything played out. So so now Kate is at this gala. This guy Armand pops up and is talking to her. It's like rich, pompous kind of dude who seems to be into some stuff. I don't know. But they're having a chat, and he basically tells her that her mom's getting married and she didn't know. And he doesn't seem very fond of her mother. I'm not sure what her mother does, but she is with Jack. He seems to not care for either one of them. And that's how she finds out that they're getting married and that they're engaged. And she's not very happy about that. So then she makes it her business to go to her mother and basically tells her, so you're engaged? Like, what? So she goes off, but then she ends up going outside to get some fresh air, and there's a dog outside who seems to have a bad eye, but it looks like Cosmo. So I'm just like, that's cute. So she's like kind of looking at the dog, maybe trying to say something to the dog, and the dog runs off. So Armand, she now sees Armand talking to her mother, and it's almost like he's coming at her about something. You can't really hear the conversation, but she's snooping. And then her mom walks through this hallway, and she's asking her mom, hey, is he bullying you, or is he like, coming at you? She's like, I don't know. I feel like her mom knows something, but I don't know. Like, I can't tell yet. It's only the first episode. So she follows Armand downstairs. She acts as a waiter. And apparently they're having some high society kind of meeting down, all the way down what looks like a wine cellar. He's down there. Jack's down there. The guy that Kate's mom is engaged to. And they're like auctioning off all of these things that they found at the Avengers compound. And then there's these other bad guys, these thieves or whatever. I don't know who they are, but they're looking for a watch. Everything else is secondary, but this watch they want to go after. So then they begin by trying to auction off Ronin's sword. So I'm like, okay. Ronin, when Hawkeye has the sword, he's Ronin. And at some point in this episode, towards the end, you see Hawkeye watching the news because they're talking about what happened. And he sees the Ronin. So Kate ends up getting her hands on the Ronin suit. And right after that, there's an explosion and all hell breaks loose. So she puts on the suit and she's fighting all these guys. Jack takes the sword and everything is on the news. Hawkeye gets back to the hotel room with his kids and he sees all this stuff, and he sees that the girl, or whoever it is at the moment, he doesn't know it's her, sees that she's wearing the suit, and he immediately flashes back to when he had the Ronin suit on and he was fighting that guy in the middle of, I don't know if they were in Japan or something, and I remember that fight, and that was a crazy fight scene. So he kind of looks like what the heck is she doing with, like, who is that? So backtracking to all hell breaking loose, Kate sees the suit. She doesn't know what's going on, but she sees that Jack and Armand are sitting next to each other and they're having words, and she can tell that they're having some type of beef or something. And so when the guys go in to steal everything, Armand won over Jack the auction for the sword. So that sword is now his. But at that time, the explosion happened, everything breaks loose. Jack steals the sword. She sees the suit. She puts on the suit, starts fighting all the guys. He leaves. And everything's out on the news or whatever. She goes out after everything happens. She goes out, runs into the dog, because the dog starts biting on the leg of the other guy who's loading up all the stolen stuff off the truck, and he sees the watch. And I guess that triggered the dog. So the dog runs off. She runs after the dog. They both get to her apartment. She leaves the dog there. Then she leaves the house, and she comes across all of those thieves again. So she's fighting all of them, and then she gets to the point where she gets into this car and she can't. And Hawkeye comes out of nowhere and he's fighting all these guys off. And I had a feeling that he was going to try to find out who this was, because that's his suit. That's his robe or whatever, his suit. So he catches her. He ends up grabbing her out of the car and takes her to a alley, and then he takes the mask off, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're Hawkeye." He's just like, "Who are you?" And then that's kind of where it ends. So I can only assume that I assume he's not going home. Okay. Something's gonna happen where seeing that suit, knowing the sword was stolen, is going to keep him there. I'm assuming that he's going to try to find out who has it. She's going to try to figure out what's up with Jack and why Armand was talking to her a certain way. Oh, and then Armand, she ended up finding Armand dead. Somebody killed him. I can only assume it was Jack because he's got the sword. But we don't know. Well, I don't know. So I definitely can't wait to see what happens next. But leave your comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed my review for first episode of Hawkeye. And if you guys did watch it, let me know what you guys think of episode 1. If you really enjoyed it, let me know. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel, hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!